In this video, I'm going to share with you my training program I've developed in the quest for my 500 meter indoor rowing record. Hey guys, it's Alex here from alexfergus.com. Now you may have seen my video that went out earlier this month announcing my goal for this year and maybe even into next year of trying to break a New Zealand indoor rowing record, and that was for the 500 meter sprint event. Now, that event lasts about 80 seconds, or there about 75 seconds is roughly the time period that I need to break that goal. So that involves quite a lot of strength, underlying strength and power, okay? It's definitely not an endurance event, though rowing is typically seen as an endurance event. The regular rowing race is 2K, which is about 6 or 7 minutes. So 500 meter, quarter of that, you know, quite a short, sharp sprint. Yes, there is still a big aerobic component. I think it's about 50% or 60% of the energy systems are aerobic systems for a 500 meter race. So I will be touching on my aerobic training protocols in another video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to check that out. But today I want to talk about how I'm going to boost the strength and power for this rowing event. So first things first, the strength and power component of the training is huge, okay? I could do all my training on the erg, on the rowing machine, build my fitness, do lots of sprints in that, and yeah, I'd improve my time, but I would never reach my physical potential. And in fact, I've got a pretty good case study of that exact situation. When I was younger, I was doing a lot of racing on these ergs, including 500 meters, but I was a lightweight. I was no more than 72 kilos or 75 kilos, I think it was. I never touched the weight in my life. I think I'd picked up a dumbbell once, had a sore arm for 2 days, and I was like, never again. All my training was done on the erg. Long rows, you know, hour-long rows, lots of intervals, but it was all erg-based work. Now, I think the best I ever pulled for a 500 meter back then was about a 127, 128, which is okay, you know, for an 18-year-old lightweight. But it just shows like I would never really reach full potential. Now, I know I was a lightweight, but again, part of the reason I was a lightweight was because I was doing a lot of aerobic work and I wasn't doing the weights. When I stopped rowing, I started doing weights. I put on 10 kilos, you know, in 6 months type thing. My body just exploded and responded really well to the weights. If you haven't seen that announcement video, pretty much at the time of recording that, my best 500 meters, I was holding 650 watts for a minute and a half. I need to hold 860 watts for a minute and a half, or 75 seconds, whatever it is. So that means I've got to find a lot more watts and obviously be able to apply those watts for the time period. So there's two parts to achieve that. Firstly, I need to be able to put out more watts, which is where the strength and power training comes in. And secondly, I need to be able to maintain that wattage for extended period, which is where more of the fitness, cardiovascular side of things comes into it. But in order to put more watts out, that's where I need more strength. And that's where the strength training comes in. Now, a good thing is I have quite a strong background in strength training. I've done a lot of powerlifting, bodybuilding, and been in gyms, personal training, weight training for a long, long time. I do have some solid numbers under my belt. I once did a 250 kilo raw squat I think I was 85 kilos at the time. That was a powerlifting squat, but you know, it was unassisted and stuff. So my body can do these big numbers, but that was a long time ago, and that was with some pretty serious training. My goal now is to be able to hit some of those numbers again in 10 years on from those younger days. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, I have developed a bit of a training program here. Up the top here, you'll see Monday through to Saturday. I don't expect to be able to do this full time, you know, like this is just a hobby. I've got 2 young kids, a newborn, I've got a business, I've got lots of things to do. So it is quite a minimalistic training program. I'm going to look at strength training component today. In another video, I'll break down the aerobic interval training, sprint sort of stuff in another video. So be sure to subscribe for that. But pretty much when it comes to the weight training, I have 3 different workouts. I have my lower workout, my upper body workout, and then what I've called my plyo or full body or dynamic workout. Now, I've developed this, before I get into the nitty gritty, I've developed this using a couple of resources. First resource was the Rowing Stronger website. Will over there has been a great help. I've reached out to him a few times and he's given me some good pointers and recommendations. Secondly, Sam Locke, I've looked at his book and some of his training programs when he did like his 1K world record. Thirdly, I've used my own experience and knowledge when it comes to training. Fourthly, I've looked at what I have on hand in my own gym. So, that's shaped what I can and can't use. Fifthly, I know my body. You know, I know some things I can do, some things I can't do, injuries and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I've pulled all those things together and literally spent probably 2 months developing this. And I've ran it now for a month, about 3-4 weeks. So I'm pretty confident it's working out well. Now, I'm not going to use any advanced periodization or anything like that. A couple of reasons. I just firstly, I don't think I need it at the moment because I haven't really been training for about 2 years. So I think, you know, the first couple of months I'm going to get good gains as a result of just getting back into some serious training. Secondly, the training program uses a bit of everything in terms of strength and a bit of strength endurance, hypertrophy and all that sort of jazz. And secondly, the training program I've developed does sort of cater for pure strength, but also some strength endurance. So I've kind of worked it into an ongoing sort of program. And I guess a lot of it is built on the Westside Barbell Super Skinny, I think that's what it was called. The Westside Barbell like sports performance athlete program that was released a couple years ago, and there's been a few versions. So a big part of the training program is based on that. So that utilizes you know, pure strength and then some higher rep stuff in the same workout. And also because I know my life, there might be a time when I get sick or my kids get sick or my wife gets sick or we go away or something happens on the farm and I don't train for a week. So that's going to be like my built-in deload, right? Anyway, let's look at the program. So let's have a look at this workout in detail now. So first things first, I actually do quite an intensive rowing warm-up where I actually work in some speed or power rows in the warm-up. Then we get into the lifting. Now, there's 3 parts of this workout, 3 different lifts. The first one is 1 set of 3. So I work up to 1 set of 3 of either a deadlift or a squat variant. I'll explain a bit more about that soon. Then we do some higher volume stuff. So we do 3 sets of 8. Again, either a squat or a deadlift variant. And then finally we finish with some unilateral, you know, single-legged stuff. And again, that's higher reps. Again, 3 sets of 6 to 12. So let's say 3 sets of 10. If you are familiar with the Westside Barbell programming, this may look reasonably familiar. Now you notice that I mentioned I alternate between deadlifts and squats. So for a particular block, I'll start with, let's say, a heavy deadlift for the first lift, and then the second lift will be the alternative. So if I start with a deadlift for 1 set of 3, then when we get down to lift B, I'll do a squat, let's say a box squat. And I'll keep that for 3 weeks or thereabouts, and then I'll start new lifts. So for instance, the next phase might be a front squat, 1 set of 3, and then the deadlift will be, I don't know, like a hex bar deadlift, for instance. And I'll just keep rotating through them. And once I hit a threshold limit, then I'll mix up the lifts. So for instance, I did 3 weeks of deadlifts at the start. I did a 240 for 3, felt good, stopped there. The next week I did a 250 for 3. Felt good, stopped there. The following week, I tried 260. It came off the floor, but it just wasn't happening. I was just burnt out, right? So this week, which I'm about to start now, we start a new block. It's pretty simple, really. Just keep going until I feel like I can't, and then bring in some new lifts. So that way, we're getting some big lifts on the deadlift, for instance, and then some higher volume for the squat. And then after a few weeks, we change it up. And of course, we have the unilateral stuff as well. So 1 big lower body session a week. The thing is, a lot of people said, you know, you should be doing 2 a week, but it's just too much for me in my body. I mean, I'm doing some pretty big numbers with these lifts, and I just knew back in my powerlifting days as well, like if I pushed 2-3 sessions a week, it was just too much for my body, especially because I'm doing a lot of sprint stuff on the erg as well. So it's just hammering my legs. All right, now we'll look at the upper body workout. So this actually follows a similar sort of structure. We have, to start with, we have a row strength variant. So let's say it's a barbell row, 1 set of 3 to 5. Then we do supplementary work for the barbell row. So in this instance, it might be dumbbell rows and really high volume here. So 1 set of 15 to 20, rest 4 minutes, and then as many as possible. So again, straight out of the Westside Barbell, I think it's Skinny Bastards, maybe that's what it's called. Straight out of his sort of playbook. Then we're also, so that's a row variant. Then we're doing a push variant down here. So this might be, say, a push press, work up to 1 set to 3 to 5. So I say 3 to 5. So I work up to 1 set. So let's say, you know, we're doing a push press. We start at 40, we go to 50, we go to 60. We're doing triples, 70, 80 starting to feel heavy, but we get 5 out. We might go to 82. Yeah, okay, we got 4 out there, call it a day. There's no point pushing it. And then next week we try better that. When we can't better that, we change up the list. Again, supplementary for the push press, And then we come down here and we do some more push-pull supersets. And these will be opposite planes. So if we've done a barbell row here, we'll do a vertical pull. So for instance, a chin-up. And then if we've done a vertical push here, then we'll do a horizontal push down here. So maybe a bench press. And then at the end, I might tag in some arms just because if I have time, if I feel like it. All right, and that leaves the last workout, which is my full body sort of plyo day. Now, this is a little bit different. It was originally intended to be more of a plyometric jump sort of day. But I've now turned it into more of a full body day. And in fact, I think I'm gonna do it as like a big circuit. So how it works is I work on my jumps or power cleans to start with. Then we go into some unilateral lower body stuff with extra ROM, extra range of motion. So really high step ups, quite a low weight here. You're just working on balance, coordination, trying to get some power out of there as well. Then we do some shoulders, maybe some arm stuff, and then abs and grip, and then at the end we do a big aerobic row to finish. Now, how I'm thinking of doing this is one big circuit, okay? So I'll start with a power clean, 1 or 2 reps, it's focusing on power, right? So 1 or 2 reps, maybe some unilateral work, 8 reps or so, lower weight, not to exhaustion, just like I said, balance, coordination. The shoulders, arms, abs, grip stuff, that's where I can push the body. Long rest, maybe 10-minute rest, and then we'll do another circuit. Again, the focus really is on that power movement at the start, and I want to be super fresh for that, so that's why we get the long rest. The rest of the stuff, part of it's just to hit body parts that aren't hitting otherwise, shoulders and the grip work and arm work and stuff. And it's also some of that balance coordination, working on any imbalances, especially in the hips and legs, which I do have a few of, which is why we have that unilateral stuff in there. Now, I do it as that circuit. I know it's not the best way to train. I like, very specific sort of training protocols, but it just works good from a time point of view and also from an enjoyment factor. And then at the end, it means I can get it done a lot faster and then get a good 20-30 minute aerobic session at the end. Otherwise, if I do it all separately, it's an hour-long workout, father duty calls, and I've got to go. So that's how I've structured that. I also thought on some days when I'm really pressed for time, I may do a neuro set instead of the jumps and the circuits. Now, if you haven't seen a neuro set, I'll put a video of one I did a couple years ago when I was training for the PaleoFX Real Fit Games, and that's where you do time under tension, let's say squats, so really slow time under tension controlled squats. Then you go into an explosive movement, so vertical jumps. Then you go into a static, so wall sets. And to be honest, it's brutal. It really only need to do one good set. You can try to do a second one, but your numbers just drop off a cliff really after the first. And it's very tough, but it's like 10 minutes of tough and then you're done. So I may even work those in because, yeah, they are pretty brutal, but they're good fun. And my numbers were insane. Power, strength-wise after hypertrophy as well. It was pretty cool. So in the video, you'll see me doing it. It is sped up, so the squat will probably look quite fast or regular speed, but it was very slow time under tension. So I may do that some days, again, where I'm just pressed on time, and also depending on how the body work is feeling, because that is quite a brutal workout. So yeah, that's my training program. Pretty much I plan on doing the lower body workout on a Tuesday, the upper body on the Wednesday, and then the full body circuit on a Friday. I have the weekend off. I work the sprints in between. I'm using the Polar, my Advantage V2, my Aura Ring, and a few other metrics to test how I'm feeling. I don't want to overdo it. I know it's very easy for me to dive straight in, and next thing you know, 2-3 weeks later or a month later, I'm just burnt out and can hardly walk. So I need to be careful about that. But I think this will work really well. There has been a lot of thought going into this, and I have been tweaking it and testing it, and I think this is going to work great for me now. The goals from this are to get my deadlift up, though to be honest, I did a triple 250 the other day. I know Sam Locke pulled a 300 kilo deadlift when he was training for his personal best, and I read in his book that he can't, in hindsight, he thinks maybe he overdid it. He didn't really need to go that far because of the extra effort and the central nervous system load of getting, maybe if he stopped at say 270 or 280, instead of going all the way to 300, it's a lot of extra effort for something that may not have resulted in much performance gains. Maybe that energy and effort could have been better spent elsewhere. In a nutshell, yeah, I want to get my let's say my deadlift up to about 270, squats to low 200s for reps. My cleans should be over 100, 120 or thereabouts. Vertical jump, I can't really quantify it, but if you've done training for a 500 meter event or like maybe a 400 meter track event, for instance, what was your strength training program like? Was it similar to this? Was it different? Curious to hear your thoughts. If you have done some bodybuilding or powerlifting or strength training sports in the past, maybe CrossFit, what do you think of this program? I mean, hey, there's many ways you can skin a cat, and I'm no expert. I've just done a lot of reading and a lot of time in the gym, and this is what I've settled on. But I'm sure I could do something completely different. But I'm curious. I mean, if you look at that and think, hey, Alex, you've missed this, or this isn't going to work because of this, like, I'm super keen to hear your thoughts. And if you are someone who is also trying to improve their 500 meter time, feel free to use this. If you want, I can type it up in a document and make it a little bit prettier. And if you've got questions, how I alternate between the lifts and when I hit the ceiling and when to change it and stuff, I'm happy to answer those questions as well. I mean, if there is a lot of interest, I'll do a blog or a separate video on that. So just ask. Anyway, I'm actually going to go and do my month 500 meter trial. So I'll be videoing that as well and publishing that on my channel. So be sure to subscribe to check out that. And again, I will be doing a video looking at the other side of my training, the aerobic, cardiovascular, sprint, anaerobic sort of training I'll be doing on the erg. So be sure to check out that in the coming weeks as well. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.